Wait, now, my first guest, who we now come to, was doing satirical comedy on television 30 years before it was even topical. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ned Sherrin. Join us. No, that's true, because we're celebrating, or perhaps you're celebrating, the anniversary of... that was week, wasn't it? That was the week that was?
Were you allowed to stay up for it?
I was allowed to, but I chose not to.
It was... no, it's got a very expensive party on Tuesday. Tuesday is the actual anniversary.
Oh, so my invitation hasn't arrived yet.
Well, you didn't stay up for it, did you?
It was perhaps unusual in the sense that loads of satirical programmes now, but it seems to have no effect on the genuine politics of the country, whereas arguably that was the week that was, and the beginnings of Private Eye did bring down the Macmillan government.
Oh, I don't think so. I think we got rid of Henry Brooke in Hampstead. I think that's about as much as we could definitely lay claim to. I think what it did do was change the vocabulary of television. I mean, they wouldn't have got those steptoes or Till Death Us Do Parts through. The light entertainment department, you know, wouldn't have known that they could use words like that if we hadn't done that was the week.
But you were being brutally rude about government ministers, not just Henry Brooke, everybody, and I mean, you brought David Frost to the screen, so you're...
Didn't bring him down, no. Can't win them all.
But don't you think it had an impact which it was never going to have again?
Yes, we were very lucky it hadn't been done before, you know.
Yes.
They'd been doing it in the Establishment Club or in Beyond the Fringe or in Private Eye, but we were suddenly doing it to 15 million a night, or a Saturday night. How many do you get?
Well, I think on a good night, you know, my friends and family watch, but...
It's about like the Loose Ends audience, isn't it? Yes.
Well, that's your radio program.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Loose Ends,
very nice of you to point it out.
Yeah. That has hundreds of people, it must be.
No, we're 3 or 4 million for that.
But although you've been a sort of on the sharp edge, the cutting edge of satire and bringing all these...
That's not the book I'm plugging this year, actually. I did one called Cutting Edge about 3 years ago.
Oh, was it? Yes, right. Because you're not yourself...
It's nice of you to remember it.
You're more yourself of a conservative, really, with a small C.
Stern, unbending Tory, always have been. Big C. Big C,
you're something with a big C.
Yes,
now,
I know I've always been a cult to you, Clive.
You have. No, and I've been delighted to... I've been delighted to delve around in your background, if I may believe
that's what the sound man said when he fitted the microphone.
Where are you talking through tonight, then? Now, you really shouldn't be a sort of TV and theatrical hero, as you are, because you were born to the land. You're a horny-handed son of...
No, the hands let me down. I never liked getting them dirty. Anyway, my brother took over the farm, so it was I had nothing to do but go out and seek my fortune.
But I thought you'd been marvellous, because your father and your brother could be, you know, 2 in the morning delivering the calf, and then you could have come in with a bunch of flowers for the calf. So I had to be here on your first night. It was,
yes, it didn't appeal to me somehow or other. No, I prefer old actresses rather than young calves.
Right. Well, as long as you can tell the difference, you're okay. But you are basically Mr. Theatre, aren't you? Because people say there's a Ned Sherrin play on, I think, oh, Mr. Theatre. But,
well, they're not saying it at the moment.
No, you've got to play Our Song, which is you...
Song. Yes, it's the only straight play in London which is filling its theatre. Peter O'Toole back in raging form, Keith Waterhouse's play. Yes. The lovely Tara Fitzgerald taking off not quite as much as she did in the Chamomile Lawn, but a very great deal in the meantime. Yeah.
But are you a frustrated thespian yourself? Would you like to be... No. You're itching to be in actor's tights?
No, I perform. In actor's tights.
Yes, pantaloons, I don't know.
Yes. Not quite enough double entendres there for you, really.
No, it's a straight question.
Oh, a bit of double entendre there.
But you have done a bit of
yes, I don't mind introducing singers, you know, that's what I do. But that doesn't always... Yes, side by side by Sondheim, I think the chap is called. I did that here and in America. It was enjoyable going to America because you had to say sort of different things there. Here I've been making jokes about Mary Whitehouse and Jeremy Thorpe. They don't go very well in America, but I had somebody like you do writing nice jokes for me. And I thought it was going awfully well.
Yes.
One night I came out of the stage door and tripped arse over tip into the gutter. And the audience was still coming out of the Music Box Theatre, and 2 young men walked past. In retrospect, I can only describe them as vicious queens. And they looked down pityingly at me in the gutter, and one said, funnier than anything she did on the stage.
Well, there it is. For all I know, it does feature in your book, Ned Sherrin's theatrical anecdotes, but most of the anecdotes here, of course, aren't yours. You've just sort of copied down other people's stories.
Yes,
do people ever say, hang on, that's... I told you that story as an amusing tale at a dinner party.
They write in and say, hang on, when you do the next edition, couldn't you put me in, is what they say.
It's sort of one lovey saying that other lovey was awful and that other lovey is better. That sort of...
There's a nice one, that nice actor, Dennis Quilly, was in The School for Scandal once at the National Theatre, directed by Dr. Jonathan Miller. And he was having... Dennis is a very straightforward, very good actor, very straightforward, unfancy-ish sort of person. Very fancy-able, but not fancy-ish.
Well, I bow to your better judgment.
Well, yeah, I'm older than you. And he was terribly puzzled about this character of Sir Benjamin Backbite, who was the arch sort of bitch and gossip. Yeah. And so he finally went to Dr. Jonathan and said, look, I really can't get a purchase on this character. And Jonathan thought for a minute and said, have you ever met Ned Sherrin? And he said, oh, I understand entirely now. Yes, that is...
There's another story
it reads better than it tells.
Yes, apparently, but but how has the book been received? I saw that Sheridan Morley was a bit sort of bitchy about it.
Well, he tries to write the same sort of thing himself, of course.
Well, he's got a book out, so my anecdotes are better than Ned's.
No, he hasn't got around to doing it. He's still busy scribbling away at theatre criticism.
What's your favourite anecdote from the book, if I can just ask a straight chat show sort of question?
There's poor old Piers Zadora. Have you ever done her on the programme?
No. Or anywhere else comes to that.
She's supposed to have been in a production of Anne Frank.
Oh, yes, it's a great story.
Yes, a lovely story.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a lovely
Would you
story.
like to tell it, Clive?
No, I'm sure you tell it much better.
No, I tell it more quickly.
If you would.
She was in this, apparently, giving an appalling performance in Diary of Anne Frank in America, off-Broadway. And she's apparently so bad that on the opening night, when the Gestapo arrived at the end of the play, the entire audience rose and yelled, "She's in the attic!"
Well, thank you very much, Ned Sherrin.